There is no area where America's global dominance is more total than higher education. With about 4% of the world's population and 25% of its GDP, America has 72% of the world's 25 top universities by one ranking and 64% by another. But this crucial American competitive advantage is being undermined by the Trump administration's war on colleges.
America, circling the drain in so many areas. And we can thank MAGA for that, and the 19 million of you who didn't bother to vote. Trump once said he loves the poorly educated, and there is no more proof of that than the Trump regime's all-out war on education. My name is Suri Crowe, and you are watching the MeidasTouch Network. Republicans have long waged war on public education, specifically because it was under Brown versus the Board of Education that public schools were forced by the Supreme Court to desegregate, and that has kept the racist right fuming for decades. Well, now this Trump fascist regime is on its revenge tour. Here's what Yale-educated J.D. Vance had to say in 2021, and as a veteran, J.D. Vance was a DEI student admission.
We have to honestly and aggressively attack the universities in this country. The professors are the enemy.
Astonishing, coming from somebody who got all of the advantages of an Ivy League education, where he wouldn't be where he is today, the millions he made through his Silicon Valley hedge fund benefactors, and he did it through DEI, the very thing that he and Trump and their billionaire donors are destroying. But here's why this should matter so much to you, even if you didn't have the benefit of a college education. This war on education is devastating to all of us. The brilliant Fareed Zakaria breaks it down. Listen very closely, and I'll explain it more on the other side.
The administration has put those words into action. The most dramatic assault has been financial, a freezing or massive reduction in research grants and loans from the federal government. Some of these efforts are under court review, but the cumulative impact could be billions of dollars in cuts to basic research, much of it disrupting ongoing projects and programs. High-quality research in the United States has emerged in a unique ecosystem. The federal government provides much of the funding through high-quality institutions like the National Institutes of Health and the National Science Foundation, and private foundations and companies account for most of the rest. Professors at universities, both public and private, use these funds to conduct the research. No other country has a system that works as well. What is at risk now is what Holden Thorpe, the editor-in-chief of Science, calls the social contract that the federal government and institutions have had to enable the scientific research enterprise in America in the last 80 years. Take a university like Duke, which ranked 11th in total grants received from the NIH last year. Of its $1.33 billion research budget, $863 million came from Washington, according to the AP. That includes funds for critical research projects on cancer and other diseases, but also support for over 630 PhD students at the medical school. Those projects and students will have to be pared back substantially if the cuts go through. One crucial mechanism to cut funding is through a massive reduction in the overhead or indirect costs that universities get reimbursed for from the federal government. Overhead often makes up to 40 or 50% of a grant. But last month, the NIH ordered that it had to be capped at 15%. This sounds more rational than it is. Universities often divide their costs on science grants into research costs, the salaries of the professors and graduate students, and overhead, the costs of the buildings, labs, energy and utilities and administrative staff. When you are building a complex lab to conduct experiments, the structure and equipment is often more costly than the salaries and stipends of the researchers. Michigan State University has declared that these cuts could make it stop construction of a $330 million research building for cancer, cardiovascular disease, and neuroscience studies. Government funding plays a unique role. It often supports basic research, the kind that companies have less incentive to do, and its results cannot be hoarded by any one company, but rather are provided free to the entire scientific and technological community so that all can use it to experiment and innovate. The mapping of the human genome, for example, cost less than $3 billion and took 13 years. Because it was government funded, one of its key requirements was that the research should be made publicly available for all within 24 hours of being generated.
That part about not hoarding, private industry like big pharma, biotech, they are under no obligation to release their research results to the public. They can and often do patent so they can make money, billions of dollars. That's why publicly funded healthcare is so critical and it benefits all of us. But Trump don't care. He doesn't care about anybody but himself and his billionaire boys club. By defunding universities, the Trump Musk Vance regime is ending critical research on deadly diseases, cancer, Alzheimer's, ALS, everything else in between, including illnesses that you haven't heard of, but somebody out there somewhere is suffering from. And they are canceling the future of medical research in America, not just for liberals, but for MAGA patients too. Here's an email response from a dean of graduate school of biomed science. I'm going to read it to you. I hope you're doing well. Today, I'm writing to share a difficult update regarding your provisional offer of admission to the Morningside Graduate School of Biomed Sciences at UMass Chan Medical School for the 2025-26 academic year. Due to ongoing uncertainties related to federal funding of biomedical research, UMass Chan, along with many of our peer universities, is facing significant challenges in ensuring stable dissertation research opportunities for incoming students. Unfortunately, as a result, we must rescind all offers of admission for the fall 2025 term. This is not a decision that was made lightly, and we understand how disappointing this news may be. Based upon your strong academic qualifications and potential, we sincerely regret that circumstances beyond our control, fascism, have led to this outcome. Should you wish to join our program in a future admissions cycle, we would be pleased to extend priority consideration, blah, blah, blah. So this is the dean, like I said, of the Morningside Grad School of Biomed Sciences, up at Mass. And she extends, it's basically saying you are welcome back anytime when we get out of this fascist nightmare. This is beyond horrifying for me. Personally, as the daughter of an Ivy League trained surgeon, my dad went to Harvard Med. I went to school there for a year studying upper grad English Lit. And it crushes me. My dad imprinted upon me the importance of education, that was the greatest gift that you could give your children or pursue yourself. And it's hard enough in America. And to see that these students who have already been admitted as PhD students, that is not an easy thing to do, by the way. And now they're not going to get in. And, by the way, these students are not pursuing biomed generally they're not going into to get rich. Maybe some of them will end up in private industry firms like biotech or big pharma, but they're going into it to find cures for horrible diseases and to improve the quality of life for all of us. And now they're getting turned away because of the depravity of the Trump Vance Musk regime. Why? All to own the libs? How does that work out for you, mom and pop MAGA? Are you going to figure out how to heal your own diseases? You're going to cure cancer with fucking ivermectin? It just absolutely horrifies me. And again, it points to the importance and the need for education starting at the K through 12 level, because these ignoramuses are like, yeah, own the libs, not realizing that one day soon they will be diagnosed with some potentially fatal disease that these people going into a PhD or, medical schools are going to find the cure for or help them heal from. The United States was world renowned for our contributions to medical science not long ago. And now because of some Zionist billionaires and a white supremacist, and by the way, very poorly educated man in the White House, that would be Donald Trump. He's so stupid. He can barely read. Columbia University and University of Pennsylvania and so many institutions of higher learning are either folding to the Nazi regime the way Columbia did pathetically, and acquiescing to Trump's utterly racist demands, like reviewing its Middle Eastern Studies Department, or they are going to lose millions in federal funding, which they depend on that for the reasons that were explained by Fareed Zakaria above. This is madness. This cult of hatred is truly astonishing to me. We are watching our country become a third world nation in real time under Republicans and Donald Trump. And they own this. They effing own this. Making America great again, under this regime is making America sick again, dumb as fuck again, white supremacist, more divided than ever, and the majority of us will be more impoverished than ever while Trump and his buddies hoard more wealth. Take a look at this graph real quick that Senator Bernie Sanders released the other day. The United States is dead last in life expectancy compared to other developed nations. So much for that American exceptionalism that has been shoved down our throats for years. You guys, we're behind and getting more behinder. That's not actually a word, but I just used it. We're not doing well, guys. The progress that President Biden and Vice President Harris had built to get us on track, back on track with better access to healthcare, education, a cleaner environment, better socioeconomic success, because the wealth gap in America has everything to do with why we are dead last in life expectancy. Trump and MAGA Republicans are tearing it all down, just taking a chainsaw, like you saw crazy psycho Elon Musk. Like they're just doing it in our faces, just tearing it all down. If you would like to stop the free fall that we are now in under this fascist regime, get involved, get in the streets. I see a lot of comments, tell me how to do it. I don't have time to do that in every single video, but follow me on social media. There are plenty of organizations out there. If you can't get out and protest in the streets, which I personally believe is the most effective way for us to demand change right now, you can call, you can write postcards, you can get to the people who didn't bother to get out and effing vote in the last election, but we have to fight like hell. All right. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you back here soon. And as I always say, try to hold on to your peace.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.